Hello and welcome back. We are now looking at the tougher of the area lessons. Today we're looking at the area of a composite shape. So what's the goal? To find the area of a composite shape. Very straightforward, a little bit more challenging, and you're probably sitting there thinking, what is a composite shape? And how does he just keep so happy when he's doing this kind of stuff? Answer for question number one is right there. How do we find the area of how do you find the area of a composite shape? So we talked about what a composite shape was when we did perimeter. It is a bunch of basic shapes that have been put together. So how do we find the area? Step one, we break the shape into basic shapes. So we're going to cut it up, draw some lines in, make it so that we are dealing with stuff that we know. So triangles, circles, squares, etc., etc. Second, find the area of each shape. So we're going to break one shape into two or more shapes. Then we're going to find the area. And then the third step is find total area. Find total area. So what is total area? That's equal to the area 1 plus area 2 plus however many areas you have. All right, so let's look at the example here. First example, we want to find the area of the following shapes. I have 4 to go through. So for this shape, you have a couple of options here. Hopefully you see the L shape can be cut into. I could put a cut line right here, so I'll mark that one in red. So then I would have shape 1 and shape 2. I could also cut it this way, and then I have shape, doesn't matter where we number them, 1 and 2. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter which way you pick it. You can't mess up that part. It's whichever one you see first is the one you're going to run with. It's going to give you the same answer regardless. So I'm going to go back to my original. I'm going to go area 1 and area 2. So I'm going to calculate them separate. So what is area 1? So I identify the shape. Area 1 is a rectangle. That would be length times width. So 5 times 10 or 10 times 5. So I know that area 1 is 50. Again, it's an area. Make sure we put meters squared. Area 2. What is that shape? So we're identifying that one. Well, it looks like a rectangle as well. A rectangle is length times width. So that's going to be 3 times 6. So there we have 18 meters squared. So the last step then is to find area total. And area total is your first area plus second area. So 50 plus 18, so 68 square meters. All right, so we're doing composite shapes. You break them into shapes that you know, rectangles, circles, squares, parallelograms, etc. And then you find the area of each one, add them together. There you go. Moving on to my second example. This shape, you're looking at it and you got to think about how can I cut this up so that I have some basic shapes. Okay, I need some basic shapes out of this. So hopefully, as you look at this, you're thinking, if I was to extend a line right there, I now have a triangle. And that is a terrible line. Who licensed him to draw some lines here? Let's see if I can do a little bit better. Not a whole lot better. Well, recognize shape, it kind of. Anyhow, you get the gist. It's a triangle. So we have 2 areas. I've got area 1, and I've got area 2. So we're all ready to fire away. So area 1. Area 1 is my rectangle, all right? So I'm looking at that area right there. It's a rectangle, so it's going to be length times width. Doesn't matter the L and W. So I'm going to end up with 6 times 15. And it is measured in meters, so what does that give us? No, 6 times 15, 90 square meters, or 90 meters squared. Area 2, it kind of looks like a triangle, and that's because it is a triangle. So base times height divided by 2. We don't seem to have the base. We do not have the base, so we've got a little bit of a problem here. Fortunately, they gave us some information. They told us that that length along there was 10 meters. This length is 6 meters. So if the entire base was 10, the bottom is 6, that means that this area, or length right here, is going to be the remainder. It's 4 meters. The height of this triangle we know, because it's going to be the same as the 15. So there's the trick right there. That was why I put that example on there for you. It's exactly that reason. That 4 meters, you have to calculate that on your own. So 4 multiplied by 15. Remember, I'm always going to give you enough information to calculate it. Sometimes you may have to go looking for the missing numbers. So it'll give me 30 meters squared. So that is the only number of shapes there, 1 and 2. So adding those together, 90 plus 30 gives me a cool 120 square meters for that shape. There we go. On to the next one. When you look at this, how many shapes do you see? All right, so looking at it, I know that I got a circular top, or a half circle top, and I also see if I cut this, I have a triangle. So for this question, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 shapes. All right, and it doesn't matter the order you number them in. So this time I'll have 3 calculations. So what is area 1? Area 1 is a rectangle. That would be length times width. So length is 10. My width, I don't know my width. No time to panic. We can talk this through. All right. It's been a long day. All right, so anyway, going back to the perimeter question, if you recall way back to perimeter, we know that the diameter of the circle is 3 feet. Sorry, the radius. If I then turn the radius arm to go that direction, that would be 3 feet. And if I went the other way, that would be 3 feet. We add 3 feet and 3 feet, we find out that our diameter is 6 feet. So now we have a width for that shape. So that would be 60 square feet. All right, crisis averted. I saw a couple people tensing up, so I'm glad we were able to diffuse the situation. Shape 2. Shape 2 is a triangle. Base times height divided by 2. Base was given, it was 4. The height, you need to realize that your height is the same as it was on the other side of the rectangle, so it's at 10 feet. And I'll divide it by 2, so that ends up being 20 square feet. All right, and finally shape 3. It's half of a circle. So this is what you can do. So area 3 is pi times r times r. We only want half of it, so we're going to divide it by 2, which means that whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So you can make that, you can use that formula right there. Area 3 divided by 2. Okay? So that's the tricky part, cutting it in half. Radius was 3, and we're going to divide it by 2. So because I'm dividing it by 2, I'm ending up with the correct answer. You have to make sure that you draw this on the other side, though, so that whoever's looking at your work knows that there's a reason why you cut it in half. So anyway, finishing that up, 28.3 square feet. So there we are. This one was challenging, and this one was difficult because there was 3 shapes. All right. Sometimes you have to look for the information. Sometimes you've got to play with the shapes a little bit. The circle you had to cut in half. So there are a variety of things that could occur as you do the work. All right. So I'm just adding those 3 shapes together to get my final answer. So 108.3, the bear. No, I'm just making that up. Sounds like a radio station though, right? 108.3. No one's nodding. That's fine. Okay, if you're not in that kind of mood, though, no problem. All right, so there's your second example. Final example. I want to find the colored in area. So I'm just going to add this in. Find the colored area. Colored or shaded area. They use the word shaded from time to time, too. So I want to find the black region. Well, how do I do that? How do I find that black region? The black region originates from a square. Okay? So my black region comes from this original square. What are the dimensions for that square? Well, if you look inside, I know that the radius of the circle is 7 centimeters. But the circle appears to touch this side of my square. You can't see that with green. What am I thinking? Here we go. There we are. Touches that side of the circle, touches that side of the circle. So that means that that is going to be a diameter, which means that's 14 centimeters from side to side, which means that my square is 14 by 14. So if that circle wasn't there, my area, so I'm going to go area, let's call it area square. You can go with area 1, that's fine. Length times width. So I know the area of the square, if that circle didn't exist, it was going to be 14 times 14. And finding the shaded area would have been so nice because it would have been just 196 centimeters squared. Unfortunately, we cut a circle out of it. So basically, you took a block of wood and you cut a circular piece out. So how much is the scrap? That's really what we're doing. It's kind of something you would do in a factory. You'd figure out how much waste are you going to end up with or something along those lines. So let's find the area of the circle, because that seems to have been eliminated. Area of a circle, pi times r, 3.14 multiplied by 7 times 7. So that area of the circle then that we just chopped out turns out to be 153.9 centimeters squared. So how much scrap was there? How much was left over? So when I'm looking at that, basically my area total that I'm looking for, area total this time, is going to be the area of my square, the whole square, and we are going to have to chop out or subtract the area of the circle. That's the hard part right there, okay? Hard part is taken care of. So now it's just 196 take away 153.9. All right, 196 minus 153.9. I end up with 42.1, and I was working with centimeters, so centimeters squared. So the wasted area there, the chopped off area, is 42.1 centimeters squared. So, reviewing the rules. When you want to determine the area of a composite shape, you chop it up. You break it into basic shapes that you know. Okay? Second step, find the area of each shape individually. And finally, you add or subtract, depending on the situation, all the areas together in order to get your final answer. All right, good luck with the homework. If you have questions, flag me down in class. If you want clarification, you want me to go through this with you one more time, please do ask, and we will make sure you're on track.